Earlier today, I talked about a letter that was written and signed by around 150 individuals calling out cancel culture. One of those individuals was Matthew Iglesias of Vox. Because he signed this, they tried to cancel him, but they had to play it smart. The letter itself was saying cancel culture bad. And if they came out right away and said, Matthew Iglesias, you bigot, that would just prove the letter right. So they'd be clever about it. A letter was written that said, well, I'm not calling for a reprimand. I'm just pointing out the privilege. And it worked. For those that aren't familiar, Matthew Iglesias is one of the, I believe he's a founder, I'm not entirely sure, of Vox.com, the leftist publication. And now he has been officially canceled. Now, I don't know to what degree he's been canceled, but this story, man, I tell you what, is particularly nefarious. You see, after the cancel culture mob came for Matthew Iglesias, it would seem that in private, he was told to STFU, zip it. And he was no longer going to be going on Twitter and engaging with people in these debates. They basically shut him down. They snipped his wings. But then the founder of Vox.com, Ezra Klein, had the nerve to come out and smack him down publicly. And Matthew Iglesias wasn't allowed to respond. That is the true malicious and nefarious nature of what cancel culture is. That they will come for your job, even if you're a progressive, they will tell you to shut up, and then you do, and then they laugh in your face. Reminds me of Evergreen, the story of Brett Weinstein. There's a viral video from the university where all these students are protesting racism, and then the administrator, whatever his name is talking with his hands, and they say, stop talking with your hands, that's racist, so he stops. And they all laugh. They all laugh. They're flaunting their power. They're a chaotic, destructive force. And I bring you now to the story. But let me just tell you, you see, Matthew Iglesias has entertained this. Vox has helped this. And now it has come for you. For you reap what you have sown, and now you will see what you hath wrought. Open letter endorsing free speech sparks civil war at Vox.com. Vox editor and co-founder Matthew Iglesias is drawing public backlash from colleagues after signing an open letter endorsing free speech and pushing back against the stifling atmosphere in some corners of the media. Vox critic at large, Emily Vanderwerf, tweeted a letter she said she had sent to Vox editors stating that Iglesias' decision to sign the letter, which she said was also signed by several anti-trans critics, made her feel less safe at the publication. Quote, the letter signed as it is by several prominent anti-trans voices and containing as many dog whistles towards anti-trans positions as it does, ideally would not have been signed by anybody at Vox, much less one of the most prominent people at our publication, she wrote. And there it is. The reason why Matthew Iglesias is on the verge of termination, if you were to ask me, is that by signing the letter, it is now evidence of anti-trans discrimination. And as you all heard, recently the Supreme Court ruled that that is a violation of the 1964 Civil Rights Act. Cancel culture has won, baby. Matthew, I hope you realize the damage you hath wrought with your publication. And you hate to see it. You really do. Some love to see it, I suppose. But now you will be dragged publicly by everyone around you, mocked and ridiculed, and your voice has been silenced. You will not be allowed to speak. Welcome to the world you helped create. They say Vanderwerf's criticism is indicative of a growing movement among journalists to replace objectivity in reporting with progressive values. The most prominent flashpoint in this debate occurred when New York Times opinion editor James Bennett resigned after employees said publishing an op-ed by Tom Cotton put black staffers, quote, in danger. An overt lie. But let me show you where we are. Yasha Monk tweeted, this is a founder and of Persuasion, associate professor at SAIS Hopkins, contributing editor for The Atlantic, said, clearly, no signatory of the letter has reason to fear losing their job if they speak their mind clearly. Take a look at this. Ezra Klein, also a co-founder of Vox, tweeted, a lot of debates that sell themselves as being about free speech are actually about power. And there's a lot of power in being able to claim and hold the mantle of free speech defender. Matthew Iglesias responded, should I reply to this with a concrete example or stick to my commitments to you? Now, what could that possibly mean? In another tweet that had been highlighted earlier, Matthew Iglesias noted that he had made a commitment to stop engaging on these issues on Twitter. So what can we infer from this? If I had to make an assumption, I would say that following the criticism of Matthew Iglesias, He was put in his place. You see, he opened the door to anti-trans discrimination arguments from trans individuals at the company or anyone else, really, because they could argue that some of those people, J.K. Rowling, she's a bigot. Therefore, Matthew Iglesias joining this letter was proof that he held discriminatory views against these people. In my opinion, again, very speculative, they came to him and he made a commitment to Ezra Klein himself. And what was that commitment? Not to engage on these issues. Now we can see the true, disgusting, and disturbing future in front of us. Ezra Klein had the nerve to to talk with. So look, Matthew Iglesias saying he made a commitment to Ezra. It stands to reason, I think it's very fair to say, that they had a conversation about this, that Matthew agreed to back down, not publicly talk about these things. So Ezra then, using his right, the rules for thee but not for me, comes out and says, specifically referencing the signatories of this letter, which includes Matthew, you have a lot of power in this conversation. So Ezra is allowed to smack down Matthew himself, and Matthew is on his knees begging. Should I reply, or I'll just keep my commitment? That's right. Shut your mouth, Matthew. You are no longer allowed to speak. I hope you're happy with the world you helped create. The other day, somebody hit me up on Facebook. This was hilarious. There was some comment conversation, and they were fervent, freaky, anti-free speech, full far leftist, whatever. For some reason, they sent me a friend request. I accepted this. They told me that they were going to contact my employer. I will be contacting those who employ you. And I said, who employs me? And they didn't know. But it shows you something. These individuals who would like to threaten you, they know that they have the power to contact your employers and jam you up. That the companies you work for are so pathetic and weak that they will cry, I don't want any damage to my bottom line. I'll fire whoever you say, random stranger on the internet. I tell you what, man. I put on an event once, and the far left tried canceling it. And I was privy to some of the conversations and communications the far left had engaged in. There were people from California calling a Philadelphia venue saying that, they were upset about their choices to host the event and they would no longer patronize this business. And the business was like, your caller ID says San Francisco. And they're like, right, you don't live here. No, I'm not worried about losing your business, dude. I'm sorry. But they know that these campaigns work. Matthew Iglesias, now you live under a boot, and I hope you enjoy kissing it, because you can't speak up anymore. I appreciate you signed the letter, but it was too little too late. You knew what was coming. You signed the letter, and now they have come for you. Vox is a disgusting website, and it's sad for me to say. They're not the worst. I'll give them that. They're not the worst. But they absolutely entertain this. And the reason I would say they're disgusting now is because of what Ezra Klein is saying. Ezra Klein is the king of duplicitousness. What he does is so, it's really funny. You can look through his Twitter history, and people bring this up. He is a sophist to the most extreme degree. He will always have an argument in favor of his tribe, even if it contradicts his previous points. The one example people love bringing up is the Supreme Court. He points to Ruth Bader Ginsburg and he's like, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, it's like we really got to make sure that we maintain Supreme Court positions for life to truly honor and respect those who serve on the bench. And then when it comes to conservatives, I think this is actually a really good argument for why it's time to end appointments for life. We get it. When it comes to your tribe, you'll make any argument. And what the funny thing is, the people who read this guy they have a memory of a goldfish. They don't remember, like, Ezra Klein just tweeted 3 months ago the exact opposite of what he's saying now. Now you can argue he's evolved his opinion, and that's fine. We all do. But then he flip-flops back the other way a month later. The dude, come on. There's so many examples of this. I refuse to live in their freaky world of no speech and bending your knees while these people are allowed to do whatever they want with impunity. Sorry, I don't work for anybody. So there's no one for you to call. I work for myself. So please, by all means, email my boss and complain about me, myself. It won't work. I love it. That's what we need. We need cancel culture herd immunity. When enough people have been canceled, cancel culture won't work anymore. That's why what you need to do is just say it. When your boss comes to you and tells you, here's my advice to you, Matthew Iglesias, tell Ezra to shove it and say, I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about and y'all can't stop me. Oh, but it's your co-founder. How dumb. If you work for a company and they come to you and tell you that this is the message of our company and you disagree, politely say, I really don't like getting political. There are so many people who work for apolitical companies that shouldn't be making these statements. It makes no sense. Let's say you work for a company that makes, a fast processed cheese product. And you're sitting there in your office filling out, forms of, requisition forms. Oh, we brought in this much milk today. And they come in and say, we're going to be issuing a public statement about this political group. Just say it. With all due respect, we make cheese product. I don't think that's appropriate for us. I'm not okay with that because I don't want to have my name attached to a message. And I'll give you an easy out. For all of those who are scared saying, but I'll get fired, you simply say this. I would humbly request that our company do not take a public position because people know I work here and I could get harassed by people. And if they say, well, that's too bad, that's, whatever. No, you don't get to you put me in danger by putting out those statements. Tell them that. You will put me in danger. I'm only half joking, mind you. If I worked for a company and they said, we're going to issue a big public statement endorsing a political view, I would say, you realize that there are crazy people who will harass me because of your statement. So please, we are a cheese factory. I don't want to make a public statement. I get it. Vox is supposed to be a cultural commentary and news website, so that's different. But if you work for a company that has nothing to do with politics, just speak your mind. If they fire you, well, then the sooner look, it's not a good thing, I know. But the sooner people have been canceled, the sooner people stand up, the sooner this stops. And maybe it won't because people won't stand up. I'll leave it there. I got one more segment coming up for you in a few minutes. Stick around and I will see you all shortly.